Took me a while to get to this one, but as I prepare for best movies post-pandemic, I wanted to touch base on, the animated films as well. And this is a beautiful movie. I definitely had some problems suspending my disbelief, but other than that, it's really well done. And I think this is a joy to watch. The analogy for motherhood, I mean, not even just an analogy, it's actually pretty outrightly about motherhood, is really, really executed well. And the elements that pull that motherhood out of her to make her valuable, not just to her own kid, but to the world at large, because women have value even outside of giving birth and or being a mother, is a really cool concept. And really, while it is somewhat played out interestingly, which I'll get to in a second, it's just beautiful. It's a love letter to motherhood, and it works. It works really well, and I enjoyed watching it. I think the robot's funny. I think the way that they play it out, all the voice acting's top notch. And yeah, I think that there's a really beautiful film here about motherhood that's very unexpected in a child's animation movie, and I think it deserves all of the acclaim it got for award season. Now, as far as negatives go, there's only a few, and one of them is it was hard to suspend my disbelief around the animals, like the logic of the animals. Okay, so the robot is presented as being very realistic and very representative of how AI works nowadays and where it's going, and it seems very grounded. It seems very possible, right? And it gets you to a point of like, no, I'm in. Like, yep, if a robot got stuck on a deserted island, it would probably try to interact with the animals. Where I started to lose myself was, how does she talk to all the animals? And why does she never have to change her voice? There's just that little element, it's just a little logistical element. But it was just like, wait, what? How is she talking to these animals? And then she learned all the animals' languages. How are they talking to each other? So like the Tower of Babel aspects of the language barrier that was just kind of glazed over as she sat in the forest for a few days was kind of a little hard for me. And that carried forward because by the end of the film, she saves all the animals and like forces them to hang out in her igloo. And fair enough, they all start fighting, which I think was good. But then they learn how to live together. Now I get it. It's probably a metaphor for anthropomorphizing our society, right? It's like a thing. It's presenting an idea of like, we can all live together in happy, and happy love and whatever. But animals can't do that. And the bear is sitting next to the fox at the end. He goes, I'm gonna eat you tomorrow. And he's like, nah, I'm just kidding. And it's like, but he has to eat him tomorrow. Like, they're all just gonna starve to death. Like, the logistics of what happened in the movie, like the result of her being on that island, means all of them die. Unless they're all just gonna eat fish the rest of their lives. Like, they're all gonna die. They're all gonna starve to death, at least the predators. And then, eventually the populations of the critters, the vermin, all the other ones will even out probably just because they'll run out of food. But my suspension of disbelief was hard to follow in that moment, which fair enough. I mean, it's a good movie. I'm not saying it took away from the film because I was still enjoying the movie. And, it's funny how the animals interact and like there's definitely some goodness in there. And I don't think it takes away from it completely, but it definitely was just like this moment of like, wait, they are going to have to eat each other. Have we been building up to the fact that they're just never going to eat each other anymore? How is that even possible? So the anthropomorphic elements of that definitely take it away from me, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad movie or that they wrote it badly. It just means, wait, what? How's this going to work? So maybe that's a fun question about, society and how I view humanity and everything. Like, are we always going to be violent? Maybe that's an underlying bias I have. I don't know. But the other thing that I find kind of negative about this is, well, maybe it's not a negative. It's not so much a negative, it's just a question I have. Towards the end of the film, the geese are flying and they go over San Francisco and they go over, I think, what is LA flooded. And, you see whales coming over the Golden Gate Bridge and then you see a city flooded, which could be San Francisco, but I think it was further south. It should have been further south anyway. And the Silicon Valley, the bad guys, the overarching corporation is obviously from Silicon Valley. Fair enough. Like, it is from that. And that makes sense, and it's part of the zeitgeist right now. But what they're saying in the film is that corporations don't care about climate change, right? That's the simple thing that they're saying. And then the other thing is that climate change is an inevitability, and that inevitability will directly lead to affecting, animal life. Now, fair enough. I don't think any of that's wrong, but I'm intrigued by the way they present these elements in regards to a movie about motherhood, because the robot is trying to take care of society, but she ends up teaching them all not to eat each other, which will directly result in either starving to death or having to change completely how they live their lives to eat off fish, which most of them won't be able to do. I mean, the bear might, right? And the fox might. I mean, there's elements that it's possible, I guess. But I guess my point is there's a direct correlation for me from saying that, oh, good motherhood teaches all to love and live in harmony, and good business leads to the destroying of the planet and, animals. And that's a really intriguing back and forth. And I think there's a time for questioning whether or not that's correct. It raises some questions about how the authors of the screenplay thought should the evil in our world should be represented in contrast to the good. I'll say it that way. But I'm curious, what did you guys think of this? Do you think I'm off base here? Do you think that the leftist leanings or the political leftist leanings that are in this film are warranted? Because I think they could have been taken out. I think you just stick with the motherhood story and it's beautiful and awesome and a masterpiece. But I don't know, maybe I'm missing something about how they talked about this connection, where it all kind of goes and all that stuff. And maybe I'm thinking too much about politics because of my one battle after another review. Who knows? But this is a good movie. This is a great movie. And if you haven't seen my Flow review, go see that, because these being the best contenders, or the contenders for best film, best animated film, thumbs up, man. That's definitely right, because both of these were great from last year. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.